Okay, and how does Writer's Workshop work for you and in your classroom? How does it fit into your day? For me, I do my Writer's Workshop time in my morning literacy block, and I block out, well, what will be 40 minutes. Right now we're working on our stamina, and we are at 5 minutes of writing, so which is huge for our beginning of the year bodies, but eventually I'll want my kids to write for 20 to 25 minutes. That gives me time to meet with kids one-on-one, you know, conference with them. And so how that looks in my classroom when it's writing time, we have green folders, and so they know it's our green folder that we're doing. They come to the carpet for mini lesson. I'll do like a quick 10, 15-minute mini lesson, and then they go to their seats and work. When they're working, that's my time to walk around and meet with kids, you know, make notes about my, you know, what's going on, they're learning, what I see that I can, you know, give some intervention. And then when we're done, they, you know, pack it up, they put their work back into their folder and come to the share chair so that my 3 friends that I picked can share. But that's just how I work it into my classroom. It's also a dessert choice. So if they finish their work early, they can go get their green folder and keep working. You may want to build it into your literacy centers. I know that that's what Beth does in her classroom. So you could do it in your literacy center time where kids are writing. Small group instruction, Beth is really good. She pulls her kids for small group, and that's how she does a lot of her conferencing.
Right. I do literacy stations, and we have a great rotation. So if you're a kindergarten teacher and you're struggling with how to implement literacy stations, go ahead and just give me an email, and I'll be glad to share with you, because I've stole it from another teacher, and I'm sure she stole it from another teacher. But it really is a great way to set up your literacy stations, and it's aligned vertically and horizontally so that when they're at stations, they're just with another partner, but when they're with me, they're all on the same level at teacher table. And so I'm able to do a lot of my conferencing on a lot of the same skills that they're all working on, because that group is working on the same type of skills. So it's kind of levelized a little bit. Now, I do also what Kelsey does, and when they're actually doing their writing, I do walk around. I have colored tables, and I meet with a colored table each day. And I have just a little ring with little index cards with each child's name on it, so I can keep track. I date it when I sit down with that table. I'll date each of the children's, and I'll just talk with them about what I'm seeing in their writing, and I try to get them to talk to me more about what they're doing in their writing, and get them to see where to guide them in critiquing their own writing. What do you think we could do to enhance your illustration? Could we add more details? What kind of details would that look like? Then on my little card that I'm sitting down with, I would write the date and write, working on details with Sarah. Then I know, and it's just a little ring, and I just pick it up, and it's so easy. And then when I put them at literacy stations and I meet with my guided small group, that allows me the time to really dive in. Everybody else is busy working on skills at literacy stations, and I can meet with my 4 or 5 little students who are all working on the same thing. So it will look different in everyone's room depending on what your room, how it works each year, and your students, of course.
Yeah, and for pre-K, where she's at in kinder, in pre-K, we won't get there till like January.
And I just want to thank all my pre-K teachers out there, because I'm able to do this because of the background, and it is so apparent this year. I'm very excited. So thank you if you're pre-K.
And pre-K, please don't stress out. This is so simple. I mean, the first lesson is how to hold a book. The second lesson, how to turn a page. Just so simple. And like when we first write, we talk about characters. So they learn the word character. And then a few units later, we'll talk about setting. And they'll actually use the verbiage. Last year, I had kids saying, look at my characters, look at my setting. You know, they actually use the verbiage, and that's really cool. So just know in pre-K, it's slow. It's very slow, so don't stress out. And if you need to redo the characters lesson 7 times, like I did last year, do it 7 times. You don't have to there is no timeline.
But this was our hope, that it would build, and that our district would adopt and actually fall in love with a curriculum that, well, not a curriculum, a framework that we could all use that will stair step, so that when Monica teaches lessons, I am piggybacking on it, and then it moves on to Kelsey, and that eventually within just a few years you're going to be amazed at what you see.
Yeah, so when my kids go to kinder and they're like, my characters,
and I'm like, oh, we already know characters, but now let's talk about
setting.
Yes, exactly.
So that pre-K, we're just introducing. We are introducing the words. So.
And you just want your kids to love writing. So that's huge. I mean, that's a big part of our job, is just to get our kids loving it. And you'll want to make it work in your classroom for you. And if you have a day where you feel like, this is awful, I'm never doing this again, because trust me, I have. You go to the bathroom, you're like, oh, get it together. That was my last year. I would feel like I did taught, oh, crash, like we got to start over. Do not get defeated. Don't let it feel defeated, especially if you're just now this year going to try to implement this in your classroom. It is a work in progress. I mean, I've done it 5 years. This will be my 5th year doing it. So I feel pretty confident now when I do it, but starting off, I mean, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. It just feels kind of daunting and overwhelming, but it's like like everything with teaching. You come back from Christmas break, you're like so excited to see your kids, and then they can't remember how to stand in line. That is Writer's Workshop, but it may happen like October, they just forget how to walk to their table. So you'll want to, just remember, they've only been on the earth like 4, 5, 6, 7 years, so they're new to everything. Everything is new to them. We've had a lot of practice doing it. They are just now learning it. So same with Writer's Workshop. They're just now learning this. So don't feel defeated if your kids can only... My class this year is beautiful. I mean, they're the best little class ever. Like, I am like heart eyes all about them. I thought for sure 10-minute stamina. I knew they could do it. Like, they are the best class ever. So I was like, boys and girls, we talked about our muscles. We're gonna be strong, and we talked about all the muscles it takes to write. And our hand is a muscle, our brain is a muscle, our eyes have to work. And we did some exercises before to get our muscles ready. Send them to their seats. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set my timer, 10 minutes. Within like 2 minutes, one got up, and I was like, so I was like, it's okay, we're gonna try again tomorrow. We tried again tomorrow. No, it didn't work. So I was like, we are going to try 5 minutes. I know we can sit for 5 minutes at our seats and write. Barely. Like, I had to look the other way when one got up, but we made it 5 minutes, and they were celebrating and jumping, and they're like, no other first grade class has done that. Like, no, they haven't. But for me, I was like, at first I was like, oh, they're like the best class ever. Why can't they write for 10 minutes? So you're gonna have days like that even in March, and you just take it back. Find something to celebrate with them. So when they couldn't do 10, I was like, that is okay. Our muscles are tired. We worked so hard at reading. So then, when they did 5, they thought it was a big deal. So don't feel, whenever it doesn't go exactly like you're picturing in your mind.
And in K and pre-K, when we're doing procedures, we'll pretend that we're writing. Like, we'll go get our folder, we'll sit down. And we'll do that a few days. And then we actually start writing. I think we write for 1 minute the first time. 1. And if that's not long enough, then you can make it 2. You can start with your stamina, whatever you think. And like Kelsey said, you may start at 2, and that's not enough. So tomorrow you'll do 5. Or if you start with 5 and it's way too much, then go back to 1, or you may just need to go back and practice the folder procedure. So everything you do, from sitting crisscross, from pair and share, PBJ sharing, finding the supplies, walking to your table, getting your table, sitting in circle time, in pre-KK, there is a lesson for that. There's classroom management lessons for all of that.
And time to review those over and over and over again, because I think we all know this, but if you will establish those routines and your expectations during that time, it will work.
Yeah.
If you don't take the time and you skip over those many lessons, it's going to be very difficult in your classroom. So really do not skip over all of the mini lessons on how to pair and share, how to walk to your seat, how to build those muscles for writing. What does the timer mean when we set the timer? What does it look like when we're reading? It's a quiet time. We have our music playing.
There's a lesson on that.
There's a lesson on that. There is a mini lesson on all of these routines in pre-KK because we knew when we did this that you had to have that in order to be successful writers later.
So that's why we spend so much time on connections and procedures, because we're building that foundation to be able to write.
And you guys know this because you're expert teachers. I mean, that's why you're here. Just find something to celebrate with your kids. Like I have found that, I mean, I felt a little blah about not being able to make it 10 minutes. Like they're the best class ever. But when, you know, I found something different to celebrate with them, because I have found, like even this year, we're on day 6 in my classroom of writers workshop. My babies on day 1 were so not confident. I mean, their confidence the whole time, it was like, I don't know how to draw a person. I don't know how to draw the house. Like they were just not confident in themselves. And so, you know, I just felt, oh, that looks perfect. Or they would spell, like, I had one spelled black-eyed pea, B-I-P. And she's like, did I spell black-eyed pea right? And I was like, yes, that is how, high five, you spelled black-eyed pea right. So now, I mean, she's going to write because she thinks she is, so just find those things to celebrate with your kids. And once they're confident, then they're going to grow as they get more confident. So you just want them to be confident as they're writing. And I mean, even since I had one the first day, did not draw a thing on her paper, not a thing. I mean, she just sat there. And I was like, honey, what are we going to draw today? And she was like, you know, tried to tell me some friends' names. And I was like, okay, can you start drawing them on here? No. Day 2, I was like, all right, I'm going to sit here. Let's see, what does a person look like? What do they have? And she's like, a head? And I was like, right, let's draw a head. And she like just looked at me. And I was like, a circle. Can we draw a circle? And so like I helped her draw a circle. And then I was like, now we need a body. And I was like, I like to draw my bodies with triangles if it's a girl. They're automatically in a dress. And, you know, kind of joking with her. I mean, it was a process. I only worked with her that day. She did not have the confidence to draw. Like, to me, that was heartbreaking. So then the next day, I was like, let's add some grass. Like, are they outside? You know, we added a sun. And I just, like, she shared that day. She was my share friend that day because she had a picture. Like, that was huge for this little one. And now she will draw the entire time. And every time she has grass and a sun and a couple people on there. And to see, I mean, it's only been 5 days of working with her, but to see that progression from not doing anything on her paper to coming into drawing a picture, that's huge. So you just got to celebrate where they're at.
In pre-K and K, we have handwriting without tears. So we sing the song Map Man. And Brandy Bulis and Tara, they found the cutest video on YouTube. The whole class builds the Map Man, but it talks about making the head for the brains, and the arms, and the hands, and the body to hold what is inside, and legs and feet. So when my kids are drawing, I'm like, oh, because in pre-K they forget the body all the time. I'm like, oh, you don't have any guts, you know. So they make sure they have their body next time. And in handwriting without tears, the boy is a rectangle, and then I added the triangle for the girl. So everybody in our class now can draw a person just from our curriculum, handwriting without tears. And like I said, Brandy found it on YouTube. It's the cutest video of a teacher building Map Man. And they learn to sing it too, and that's really cool. So that's what we're doing right now. We're doing procedures and connections and Map Man. And my aides over there, we've done Map Man probably 5 days in a row. So we want them to be able to draw a person. And then once we do the Map Man whole group, I really encourage them to go to the writing center or the art center and draw it. And so I have a Map Man there for them to look at, and all my kids are excited to draw Map Man in art and writing. And that is just the beginning in starting in writing.